Welcome back to Unscripted. Now, this week's topic is hard for me to cover, but I feel like it was important for me to cover because it's something I'm going through right now. And I feel like it's the best to talk about something when your emotions are really raw and your opinions are really raw because it's the most authentic time to speak. I am going to address the sunglasses before we start because I can't just be wearing sunglasses inside at night and not address why. It's because I fear if I was to take them off, people would scream and report the video. Because I have been crying every day non-stop for a week. And no one wants to see the repercussions of that. My eyes look like I've been smacked in the face with a baseball bat over and over and over again. What I'm about to talk about will dig up some emotions. And I don't want to have to cut halfway through and try and compose myself. So the sunglasses are just an easy move, okay? Anywho, so the situation I'm going through at the minute is I've had to say my goodbyes to someone that I didn't want to have to say goodbye to. And here's some of the background to that situation. So I started seeing someone, and I was seeing them for about 2 months. And I know you're thinking, Isabella, that's not that long. It is, okay. And I've been in relationships that have lasted years, okay? So I understand in the grand scale of things that's not that long. However, it sucks. Doesn't matter if it's a month or 4 years, it sucks. Okay, one might just suck a little more than the other. So yeah, I was seeing someone for 2 months. After our first date, after dinner, they said to me, I'm moving away in 8 weeks. And at the time, I wasn't thinking ahead, so I was just thinking how I felt in the moment, and I was like, well, that's fine. I only have one ground rule, and if you're seeing me for the 8 weeks you're here, if you'd like to continue seeing one another, I want it to be me and only me. I don't want to be one of 3, one of 4. That's just not me. I'm not okay in that situation. I'm not okay with that situation. And they agreed. And they respected me for bringing that up. So I'm then now seeing this person a couple times a week. I'm staying at their house, X, Y, and Z. So I'm spending a lot of time with this person, and I'm texting this person every day. A week ago. It'll be a week tomorrow that was the last time I seen them. And after spending that long with someone, you don't feel the same a month in, 2 months in, than you did on the first date. And that might be an unpopular opinion, but that's just how I go. I don't know I like someone, or I potentially could like someone the first day I'm with them. That's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Not me. Because you don't really know that person. I'm very much someone who goes off, okay, well, I'm physically attracted to you, but I don't know if I'm attracted to you. You know? I feel like those are two completely different things. Anywho. So last week sucked because I had to say goodbye to this person, and the night before that happened, it was rough. We didn't really sleep because we were kind of just up talking about feelings and whatnot, and I was crying for most of it. Typical me. I should trademark crying. I do it as a full-time job. And they were kind of deep in thought. And I fell asleep for maybe an hour, I think. And this person was deep in thought when I fell asleep. Anywho, the morning comes. We then have a conversation in the car. Because he was dropping me off in the city because I had classes on campus. I had to go to lectures, which I don't know why I thought I'd be able to go, but I was clearly feeling optimistic when I made the plans. Anywho, we had a conversation in the car about the possibility of distance. And this person said to me, I've done it before, I know I can't do it, and I don't want to prolong the hurt, and it's way worse for you and me to even attempt it, because I know I can't do it. And at the time I was obviously really upset, and I was angry, and I viewed it as, well, clearly you don't feel for me the way I thought you did. Now I've given it some thought, and I've went over the situation about 1,000 times in my head since, I do think that was a mature move from them. They knew they couldn't do something, and they knew the damage it would cause. And both of the options, if you weigh them out, are just as bad as each other. Leaving each other now, or prolonging it. And at the time I said to this person, look, you don't know, it's a completely different situation. If you've tried it before, I'm not that person that you tried it with, and I'm sorry to hear that didn't work out for you. And it's just like kids riding a bike. Kids get on a bike, they fail, they fall over, they hurt themselves. They're like, I'm never doing that again. But they give it another shot. But the kids that don't give it another shot and aren't supported in giving another shot, and, you know, they regress it later in life, because before you know it, you're 25 and you can't cycle a bike. That's the analogy I used for him, but he wasn't having it. And he said that, no, look, this is the best decision out of the two, even though they're both just as bad as each other. Anywho, since I've given you the bulk of the situation, people might look on this and think, Isabella, it was 2 months. Calm down. But it's just awful because nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened to cause us to not speak to one another or see each other anymore. It's solely just because of distance. And that's why it's so hard for me to accept, was, why did this have to happen? And I'm trying to go by the motto, everything happens for a reason. I'm not accepting this one. Sorry. I do not see the reason in this. And I'm yet to find out the reason behind all of this. In my moment of silence with this person that I've taken for the past week, on my behalf, because I've just been too hurt and upset to reach out, and I feel like it would just send me 4 steps back rather than at least 1 step forward. I have been hit with the realization of a couple things, and that's what I'm here to share with you today. And one of the realizations that I found was groundbreaking for me at the time. And funny enough, I found this through research. I was researching a topic for my course. I'm currently studying early years childcare. And I found the importance of playing peekaboo with young children. And it's basically about helping them develop object permanence. And the definition for object permanence is the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they are out of sight. And it's a fundamental cognitive thing for children. And I seen a test that they did on 2 children of different ages. So the test that they did on this was, they took 2 young children of 2 different ages. One was in one of those sort of bouncer walker things you put young babies in that can't walk yet. So they had a baby in one of those bouncer things in a room, and there was a table with a pair of sunglasses on it, and the baby was playing with the sunglasses, picking the sunglasses up and whatever, having a look at them. Then somebody walked over and put a paper towel over these sunglasses, and the little kid didn't give it a second thought, moved away from the table. Then the older kid, they did the same thing. The older kid was playing with the sunglasses, and the person came over again and put a paper towel over the sunglasses, and the kid took the paper towel off and kept playing with the sunglasses. And that's because that kid developed object permanence. It had already developed that cognitive ability to know that just because you can't see it, you know it's still there. You know it's still under the paper towel. But whereas the younger child hadn't developed that. So I read that, and immediately what came to mind wasn't the brilliance of cognitive development in children. What came to mind was this situation I'm in, and situations I've been in before, and situations people are in every day across the world, that just because that person's not in your life anymore doesn't mean they're not still there. If this person has left your life and they are still happy and healthy walking about the earth, you could pin it down to object permanence. They're just covered with a paper towel. And that paper towel could be distance. That paper towel could be an argument. That paper towel could be anything you paint it out to be. Anything that your situation is. That's what that paper towel is. And you can still pick up that paper towel and that person's still there. And the ways you can pick up that paper towel is by reaching out, sending them a message, calling them, or even bumping into them. Anything. No matter if that person's in your life or not, they're still on the same earth as you. And there is always the chance that you'll see them again. Always the chance that you'll see them again. And you can either choose to be the kid that sees the paper towel, cover the sunglasses and walk away and not give it a second thought. Or you could be the kid that knows that the sunglasses are under this paper towel. And you know that if you lift up that paper towel, that person will be there. But maybe you just want to leave the paper towel for a bit. And that's the kid I am right now. I know that this person, for me, is on the earth. And I've kept that paper towel on for a week. Kept it over this situation for a week. But recently I've been thinking, do I lift it up? If I text this person, they're there. And the reason I'm so confident in this is that this person said to me, I don't know where you've got this mentality that I hate you. If you send me a text, I'll reply. And that's why I thought of this analogy. This person for me is just under that paper towel. And if you're going through a breakup or a similar situation, or you have been, or you might be in the future, try and think of the paper towel analogy. Because they're still there, you just can't see them. Object permanence. And that takes me on to moving on or letting go. I feel they sometimes have negative meanings behind them. Because moving on from someone, in my eyes, is you found someone new. And you're moving on from that person, you're moving on to a new person. And then letting go is where you are just letting go of that person and you're moving on with your life. In my situation right now, I don't want to let go of that person. And I also don't want to move on. But what I do want to do is find acceptance. Because I feel like before the moving on and the letting go, there is acceptance. And if you don't learn to accept things, you will never fully be able to let go or move on. Like, everyone has a bad day. Everyone comes home at the end of the day and thinks that was such a shit day at work. That was such a shit day at school. You've got to just accept that that was a bad day. You don't need to be scrambling, trying to find something to make the day good. The day was crap. Accept it. Go to bed and think tomorrow might be a little better. Tomorrow's a whole new day. A whole new story. So I feel like that is relevant in situations like this. Breakups, splitting up from someone, moving on from someone, whatever. In a situation where you have to leave someone that you've spent a significant amount of time with, be that 2 months, be that 4 years, you need to accept why before you can let go and move on. And that's why I'm having a hard time with the letting go and the moving on. It's because I have not yet accepted that it's happened. Because I still wake up and go to bed with the same question in my mind, why? Why has this happened? I know why this has happened, but I don't know why this has happened. I know the surface level reason this person was moving away and couldn't do distance. But why has this happened to me? And that is what I cannot accept. So before I listen to people when they say, you need to move on, you need to let it go, no, what I need to do is accept, and that'll take time. It's easier said than done. to accept and move on and find happiness again and whatnot. And I'm saying this to you, and I've said this to myself, but I can't take my own advice. And I really want to dig into why we can't take our own advice. Well, the majority of us. I can say all these things, and I've had friends that have went through breakups and hard times in their relationships, and I've given them so much advice. But why can't I take my own advice? Why can't I take that on board? I say to myself, do this, it'll make you feel better. Do this, it'll make you feel better. And I don't take that advice, but then I have the nerve to get annoyed when my friends don't take this advice on. I'm like, well, that's great advice. Why have you not listened? Because sometimes people just don't want to listen. And that's me right now. I don't want to listen to myself. I do not want to listen. I could not care less about the advice I've got for myself. I couldn't care less when people are like, oh, you've been here before and it gets better. I don't care. I actually don't care. All I care about is how I feel right now, and that's okay. That is okay. If you are feeling bad because you went through a breakup or whatever, and for 4 days straight you've been lying in bed crying, let it be. Let it be. That's okay. That's so okay, and don't let anyone think that that's not okay. Don't let anyone think, oh, you're wasting your life doing this, you're X, Y, and Z. That doesn't matter. You're taking care of yourself if they believe it or if they see it or not. You are. And that's another thing I want to go on to, is when people say, oh, keep your mind occupied, try and take your mind off this person, don't lie in bed all day, get up and get ready and go out, go see friends, go to lunch. That's all and well. But I feel like you also need to sit with your pain. You need to sit and cry, and you need to sit and think about the memories. You need to read through old messages. You need to do anything you can and feel sad. Because if you're constantly with friends, got this on, doing this, and you're not giving your brain a chance to grieve, because you are grieving the loss of someone, it's still a loss in your life. You're allowed to take that time, because I don't believe spending this time with people is fixing anything. It's a temporary solution to a huge issue that affects your whole body. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm going through a situation like this, like my chest is physically in pain, my head hurts, I don't want to speak. It feels like my throat doesn't work. It feels like I can't put a sentence together. And if you're spending all this time with people, you're just going around in a loop, because at the end of the day, bang, you're sad again. Then you're bottling all that emotion up. You're actually just prolonging the pain that you're in. You need days to just be alone and be with your thoughts. And that's okay. Because when this first happened, I thought I need to be with people ASAP. And that is what helped me. I had a friend over almost immediately after I got dropped off by this person, after we said our goodbyes. That's what I needed. But I also needed the past 2 nights where I just lay in my bed and cried. I needed the days where I woke up and the first thing I did was cry. Because then the days that come where you're not crying are so much more rewarding, because you know you've worked through that on your own. Like, today, for instance, hasn't necessarily been a sad day for me. I cried maybe once, but that's such a milestone in comparison to the past week. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is crying. The last thing I do at night is crying. What do I do in my afternoon? Cry. But today wasn't one of those days. I got up, I had a shower, I made my bed, and the whole time I'm doing this person's on my mind. I'm thinking of this person, but I'm not crying. And maybe, yeah, sure, I did cry a little bit, but it was nothing in comparison to what has been going on for the past few nights and mornings. And that's so rewarding, because I know I haven't just been distracted. I've been actually working through what I'm feeling. I've been having a hard time with seeing places that we used to go together. I can't bring myself to go to the town that he was staying in. I can't do it. I've been there maybe twice, and both times, first time I went, I cried, couldn't get out the car. And the second time I went, it felt like my heart was about to explode and come out of my ears and my eyes, which is weird because I've lived up here and went to these areas and these towns so many times before I even knew this person existed. But because this person had such an impact on me, I now can't bring myself to go to the town I went to school in. I can't bring myself to go to the town I went to high school in because of this person. I went to that school from when I was 11 years old, and I left when I was about to turn 17. And school aside, that town has so many memories in it, but I can't see those memories. The only ones I care about is the ones I have with this person. Now, a tactic that I have discovered to deal with the emotions I feel when I see these restaurants, when I see these walks we went on, even driving past the shop we were in a couple times together throughout the time period of us seeing each other, I can't do it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but I just can't do it. But the way I have started to deal with this is seeing them more as a time and space rather than a memory that isn't happening with me anymore, if that makes any sense. A few days ago, I was driving through to see my grandma with my mum. And on the way, we went past a forest walk me and this person went on quite recently before they left. I felt so choked up, I felt like I was being choked. I then started thinking about it, and I don't want that to be how I view things, because I still live here, this person doesn't. I don't want to have to avoid places just because it makes me sad. So the way I've started to view this issue is, say, you know when people talk about that there's different timelines, or there's different universes where you exist in all of them, but in every single one of them you're slightly different, and the timeline is slightly different. I like to view it in that kind of mindset. So let's use the forest walk that I drove past the other day as an example. Just because me right now is driving past this forest walk and I have that memory of being in there with that person, doesn't mean that that memory isn't still in there. Bear with me. Maybe as I am in this timeline driving past that with the heartbreak and the upset that I feel, doesn't mean when I look into that forest in a timeline that I can't see, that's maybe a couple weeks behind, a month behind, me and this person aren't still walking around the woods. Me and this person aren't in the restaurant I just walked past. And that gives me more comfort rather than looking at these places and thinking, God, like, I have this great memory here and now this person is gone. And that makes me upset, obviously, as it would for anyone. I kind of like to view it as it's still happening there, I just can't see it. And that might sound a little bit crazy, okay, but it's more comforting than thinking, God, that happened and I was happy and now it's not and I'm sad. It's easier to think about it as it's still happening and I just can't see it. Now, with it being almost a week that I have not spoken to or seen this person, I'm starting to get a little bit better. Me, right now, compared to me a week ago, an emotional wreck. She needed excessive amounts of therapy. She was gone to the world. No one was going to hear from her. She was in a hole and she was crying. Okay, but listen, we just covered this. Let her be. Let her be in that depressive state. But a new issue I've come across is now I'm starting to do things again that are regular day-to-day things. Because then that means I'm getting better and I don't want to get better. I hate that this person has gone so much that I almost don't want to reach the acceptance phase that we were just talking about. I want to stay in this phase of mourning and sadness and whatnot because it gives me comfort. I don't want to have to move on with my life without this person in it. Because I had this realization today where at one point in the afternoon I was like, I'm starting to eat again. And I'm starting to get out of my bed and have a shower and get dressed and all the lot of it. That means I'm getting better, and I don't want to get better. And I hate that I have that thought that I don't want to get better. Like, obviously I want to be able to eat healthily, which I have not been for the past week. Obviously I want to get up and get out in the sunlight and have a shower every morning and not put it off till nighttime. And I want to make my bed and I want to feel productive. But really, do I? No. I want to stay in this moment of longing. And I can't wrap my head around why. And I think it is just the fear of the realization, not acceptance, that I am having to move on. And I am having to continue on my life like I did for 20 years before I met this person. And that's scary. Realizing that you're moving on in your life without somebody that you desperately want to be there is the scariest thing ever. And in my personal experience, I can only say that it's scary to me right now. That's never been scary to me before. I've been in 2 long-term serious relationships, if you can call them serious, before this. I was in a relationship for 2.5 years, on and off. Okay, that relationship was a whole mess. It was a drama. Okay, there could be a movie written about that relationship. And then I was in one for, almost a year, whatever. When I started getting better, I thought, this is great. Like, I'm eating again, I'm seeing friends, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm not crying all the time. God, I feel free of this demon that's been sucking the life out of me for months. Thank God, the sun's out. But right now, this is my first experience of, I don't want to do that. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. This is my advice to you. If that thought ever crosses your mind where you don't want to get better because that means you're going to move on and that means you don't have this person, my advice to you is just do it. Just do it, because life isn't meant to go backwards. Life is gonna keep moving, whether you like it or not. And it is a little bit of harsh love. I get it. But sometimes you need to give yourself a good 50-50 of letting yourself be that sad, depressive person that's crying for days, because you need it. But sometimes you also need to give yourself a little bit of a shake. You're getting out of bed. You're maybe laughing at a TikTok again. Embrace that. Just as much as you embraced your sadness, embrace your healing phase. And do I think my healing phase is in full swing? No. No, not at all. Day by day, I'm getting better. And I'm trying to accept that. Because as I said, acceptance is key to everything. I made the firm decision to never text this person again. Because I thought that just couldn't be me. And I can't remember if I said already or not that I couldn't bring myself to message them every so often to catch up after everything we've been through. Because, we really got to know each other in this space of time that we had. And, I picked up quirks from him, jokes, mannerisms, whatever. And I was seeing them consistently without the fear of there being other people. I thought, I can't go back to just barely knowing you. I can't do it. And I've never been one of those people who thinks, after a breakup or whatever, you can be friends with that person. Fair enough if the relationship was when you were 13. By all means, go to each other's weddings. I'm not fussed. But I feel like from the ages of 16 and onwards, But in this situation, and I don't know if it's because it's fresh, but I thought I can't go back to just being your friend. I can't do that. After a week of crying and contemplation, I've decided I think I'm going to reach out to this person. Because I think I'd like to keep that door open. Now, hear me out. I have a whole door analogy. So, think about it as me and this person are in 2 rooms, and this room is connected with a door, with a little window in it, with a curtain. For the past week, I've had this door dead bolted shut, but I've had the curtain open, and I've been face pressed against the glass. Like, what are you doing? And I've been doing that through reading through our old texts and whatnot, and thinking about them constantly. So my face has been pressed up against that glass, fogging it up, if you will. So curious to what this person's doing and what they're up to and how they're feeling. But now I think I'm ready to unlock the door, have it open, but I'm not going to sit by that door. Because recently I've been sleeping beside that door, eating beside that door. I've been by that door and not explored the rest of this room that I'm in. So I think I'm going to unlock the door and walk away. So that door is always open for them to invite me through to their room, or for them to just walk through mine. I think I'd rather that situation, because I think if I keep the door locked, I'm going to be at that glass until I become part of that glass. So I feel like the healthier thing for me to do is just open that door up and walk away. And I think that's what this text is going to do for me. I'm opening communication back up. However, it's just not the time for us to be in the same room. I was going to say, that's okay, but it's not. I'd rather be in this room with this person and continuing where we left off. But unfortunately, it's not the time for us. One day, we might be in the same room together, and we won't need to keep that door shut. But for right now, the door is open, and not right now. From when I sent that text, the door is open, but I'm away. I'm away in the room, doing my own thing. I'm away in the room, in the corner of the room, doing a podcast. That's where I'm at. Before I close this out, I just want to say one more analogy that I've got for you guys. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, it was just a month. Oh, it was just 2 months. Oh, it was just 3 months. Oh, it was just 4 months. Don't let anyone say that to you, because I think that is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I just think it's ridiculous, because every situation's different. The 2 relationships I've been in and this period of dating someone have all been different grieving processes. I was distraught for maybe only 3 days after I ended things with my first boyfriend. And that was 2.5 years. But I think that's because I did a lot of grieving in the relationship. My next relationship, I was sad for a day or 2 days, and then I was fine. I didn't move on. And I was offended even to hear that they were on dating apps again. But that didn't take too much out of me. This is more so like the first on steroids. Because here's my analogy. You're seeing this person regularly, on a regular basis. You're speaking to them daily, maybe, every 2 days. But it's regular, okay? That's just like using the same toothpaste every morning and night for 2 months, say. So it's part of your routine. You wake up, you expect this toothpaste. You wake up and you know the flavour of this toothpaste. You know what the bottle looks like. So say you wake up one morning and you're not expecting any difference in your day. You go into your bathroom, the tube is borderline empty. You only have like one more use in it, and that's right now. And you think, oh, that's annoying, but it's fine. I'll go to this shop after work or after school and pick up a new bottle, so you're fine. You're like, it's fine, I'll be seeing this toothpaste later. You toss it in the bin. Then you've had a crap day at school or work, and you go to the shop, and you're like, it's fine, I've had a crap day, I'm going to pick up my toothpaste, and I'm going to go home. It's fine. You go to the toothpaste aisle, and this toothpaste has been discontinued. What do you do? A typical person wouldn't crash out in the middle of this shop about a toothpaste, but inside you'd be like, what? They discontinued this with no warning. This has been my toothpaste for 2 months. So you pick up another bottle or tube. You then go home and you go to brush your teeth that night. And you're kind of unsettled because maybe the consistency is a little bit different. The flavour's different. The smell's different. The bottle looks a little different. It looks different on your sink. You're like, whatever. You go to bed. You wake up. You brush your teeth. You go about your day thinking, God, I hate the taste of that toothpaste. I hate the feeling of that toothpaste. The bottle's ugly. Not to toothpaste shame, but the bottle's ugly. I hate that bottle. I want my old toothpaste back. And I know this all seems a bit extreme over toothpaste, but you've got to put it in the mindset that this is a person, not toothpaste. Then you're using this toothpaste consistently. You get used to it. You don't give the taste a second thought. You don't give the smell a second thought. You don't give the bottle a second thought because that's just your toothpaste. You've been using it day and night now for a few weeks. Because now it's part of your routine. This is the same when it comes to people. You've seen this person consistently for 2 months and one day they're gone. So you have to go through that period of complaining. Of, I miss this person. I want to speak to this person. I don't like this new uncomfortability in my life. I don't like that I'm thrown off of track. I'm thrown out of routine. And then you find something slowly to replace that in your routine. Say you've seen this person every Wednesday and every Sunday night. You will slowly find something to fill that Wednesday block and that Sunday night. And that becomes your new normal. But you're not going to get to that new normal if you don't go through that period of complaining and dreading these days coming. Because you're like, God, on this day I'd see this person. You need to complain before you find your replacement in a healthy way. This is why when some people get into relationships, things end and they replace that person like that, that typically doesn't work out for them. Because they didn't find that person in a healthy way. They were just looking for a replacement. And that's why I'm trying to put this toothpaste analogy into people's minds to just say to them, guys, look, I need to go through this period of you hearing me speak about this person before I find something to take away that complaining. Like weekends are specifically hard for me because typically I'd stay at this person's on a weekend. So weekends are hard for me because I caught myself this weekend that's just passed saying, God, I have nothing to do on my weekends now. It's so boring. I have nothing to look forward to. And I know my friends are probably tired of hearing me complain. Oh, I miss this person. Oh, I used to do this with this person. Oh, 2 weeks ago today I was seeing this person. But soon that will go away. Soon that will become, oh, I've got this planned on Wednesday. Because that block is now free. And I'm not trying to actively look for a replacement just yet. Because I think that would hurt too much. I think I'm still in my period of complaining. But once I'm out of my period of complaining, I will then be busy on the days that I would see this person. I don't think I have anything else to say. But I hope if you're in the same situation as me, or even if it's slightly different, I hope that if you found something you could relate to, or even help you heal something that you thought you recovered from, I hope you can take anything I've said away and use it. And as stupid as it sounds for me to compare people to paper towels and people to toothpaste, these things help. With the whole reaching out thing, with me keeping the door open, If you don't think that's right for you, that's not right for you. Don't take me saying that as gospel, that that's the way to do it, because it's not. You can open that doors in other ways that work for you, and you can keep that door locked until you're ready to unlock it, or sometimes you just keep the door fully locked. Either way is okay. It's your door. Do what you like. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you maybe learned something or heard something that you can put to some use, or even just something stuck with you. And if you find yourself in a situation in the future, you can maybe think, oh, that one blonde girl with that podcast with a pair of sunglasses on said this, so I'm gonna try it. Thanks for tuning in for another week. I'm excited to see what next week brings. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.